I watch as what looks like spinning blades come slowly into focus above me.
You're actually in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and you drank the bubble soda, and you're floating towards the ceiling. Oh no, Grandpa Joe, why did you have us do
Charlie,
this?
burp.
Burp.
Chase, you're only burping in circles.
We're gonna have to get the ceiling disinfected. He's so mad at the end about it.
I tense up, but only for a moment as I realize what it is. A ceiling fan.
This is like a much more modern...
Wait. A ceiling fan? Isn't that... I sit up quickly. Only to immediately swoon as the room starts to spin around me. I'm the fan. I grip onto whatever I'm sitting on, and it happens to be soft and smooth. I look down and see that I'm on top of a blue comforter. Don't look at the picture. To my left, Jenna, Raven, and Carl are stretched out next to me on a king-sized bed. That's relatively packed together regardless, even on a king, right?
Yeah, even on a king.
Maybe it's a California king. Which is just a bizarre... There's an even more king-sized bed.
It's just... Yeah, it's like if you want to be extra, you know. Actually, I have a California king. I have to pay extra for sheets.
It's like if you get like a twin XL, it's like a long twin. Is another size.
I mean, that honestly seems more useful than just getting a bed that's continuously wider. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, I think the height thing is a constant problem for us tall people.
Yeah, no, I'm just taller than my own bed.
The place we just stayed at, my feet were sticking off the bed every night, and I'm not even that tall. Like,
oh no. To my right, sunshine streams in from sliding glass doors, outside of which is a massive deck. Past that porch are the mountains and desert of Echo. We're back.
Are you, though?
Oh my god, we're back.
Seems like a trap.
Guys! I shake Carl next to me. He immediately swings a hand to slap at me, but I persist until he's forced to sit up, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. Jenna and Raven stir next to him.
What is it? What happened?
Guys, we're back. We're in your house, Carl. Carl finally snaps his eyes open at that. Raven sits up next to Carl, and I see him sway with the same dizziness that I had earlier. Where are we?
My parents' room.
Carl's voice is hushed, quiet, as if afraid if he speaks too loudly this will all disappear.
Or that his parents will hear him and they'll think that they're doing something naughty in their bed.
Relief like I've never known before flows through my body. Whether or not it was a dream, or a hallucination, or we were drugged somehow, it doesn't matter. What matters now is that we're home. Well, in Echo at least. I look over at Jenna, hoping to see her back to her old familiar self. But I find her staring around suspiciously, that dark look still in her eyes. Maybe that would take a longer while to wear off?
Oh no, we brought the ghost home with us.
I slowly push myself off the bed, the height of it making it more difficult for my feet to reach the ground. I touch down with my good foot, and am a bit surprised when my toes come in contact with a cold, hardwood floor. I thought this room had carpet last time I was in here. I look back at Carl and see a confused look in his face, the fur on his brow crinkling up at the bright sunshine.
Something's a little off, man.
What?
Something's wrong.
I feel the beginnings of that sinking sensation in my chest again. Why?
My parents' room isn't this big.
I look around. I guess it looks a bit bigger than usual. The balcony seems to be the right size, though.
And the floor.
He points at my feet.
Where's the carpet?
Carl confirms my suspicions. The dread continues to grow in my stomach. Maybe they took the carpet out while we were gone? No one responds to that ridiculous idea. Jenna looks at the wall behind the bed and reaches out a hand to touch it tentatively. Carl lets out a loud, almost maniacal laugh.
It's like I'm in a weird dream of my house or something. Maybe that's exactly what it is.
Carl pushes himself off the bed, his hooves clopping loudly, unnervingly against the hardwood floor that shouldn't exist.
I wonder if someone like people with hooves in this universe would be less likely to have hardwood floors for that exact reason.
Yeah, it seems like it'd not be great.
It would just be annoying.
And damaging.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, fuck.
I can see the same emotions I feel in my chest playing out across Carl's eyes right now. He reaches out to give me some support. Well, maybe there are other people here. Even Raven's cheerful tone is forced and strained. I guess I was expecting we'd end up in another dream world or whatever. But the fact that I'd thought for just a moment that we were back in the real world made this all the more soul-crushing. It feels like those fucking ghosts are toying with us at this point. I take a deep breath, willing myself not to lose it. Not yet, at least.
Chase, I'm gonna move to the deck.
I get a better grip onto Carl's side as he starts to move towards the glass doors, his hooves clopping while I hop along. He stares out, slowly reaching up with a hand to tug at the handle. To my surprise, it opens. I guess I'd thought that it would be the same as the last place we were in, that we'd be locked in or something. I follow Carl as he steps out and onto the balcony, taking slow, careful steps, as if afraid that the deck may give out. The air is hot and heavy, almost humid. There's a drug addict pointing at us down the horizon.
Yeah, I do wonder if that was like obviously that was brought up and has not come up again. But I almost wonder if that's like it's kind of a classic horror movie trope to just have something unsettling in the beginning of a movie that does not have any point. like a very common one. And I think they even bring it up in that that movie that I liked as a parody of all the horror movies that you showed me.
Cabin in the Woods?
No, not that one.
Tucker and Dale?
Tucker and Dale, yeah. Where it's like you meet a creepy person at a gas station at the beginning of the movie. And it doesn't mean anything. It's just that there's always some unsettling kind of like off-kiltered hillbilly at some gas station. And he says something kind of ominous. And you never really you might not ever see him again. But he says something weird at the beginning to set the tone that you're in some place that's backwoods. Like something like that. Like a lot of movies have like
some kind of opening encounter that doesn't mean like, what you think it is.
What's that creepy lady on the side
of
the road?
Like Get Out,
or
the deer and the cop.
Yeah,
where the deer is just unrelated, and the cop encounter is actually recontextualized by the end of the movie.
Texas Chainsaw has a whole part at the beginning where they let a guy into their car who's like really like a hitchhiker, and he's really off-putting and creepy, and they end up having to kick him out of the car. But if I remember right, I don't think he comes up ever again. But he just says a bunch of weird shit and scares them all, and then they have to throw him out of the car.
He's just Texas.
Yeah, it's just like one of those things. So maybe that's to set this up, was to have a kind of tweaked out person acting crazy in the middle of the nowhere.
Something's just up with Echo, because there was a number of people that were acting strangely.
I still think that lady from the diner was just on drugs.
Well, I think that's the in-universe, like, excuse so that they can be like, huh, that was weird, and then move on. But I think something's up. I think something's up with these people, and that's why they're acting like the way they are.
You think it's a Shaun of the Dead situation?
Shaun of the Dead? Yeah, but for, like, whatever's going on with the ghost, maybe.
It's like, oh, that person's just that person's just a tweaker.
This idea that everything was just the signs were slowly growing, but we were all too busy with our drama bullshit to notice.
And you know, Leo wants to date us again, and we're distracted by this. Like,
yeah.
Meanwhile, a whole bunch of actual serious stuff is happening around us that we're not noticing.
The air is hot and heavy, almost humid. That isn't normal at all in Echo. Sure, it would get really hot, but it's a desert. Humidity is near non-existent. We reach the railing and stare out at the town before the foothills that Carl's mansion sits on. I take in a soft breath. Just like in the dream I had, the ruins of Echo aren't ruins anymore. Dozens of old-fashioned wooden buildings dot the edge of the lake. A little ways away, I see the familiar buildings of the motel and supermarket, along with the small neighborhood of my childhood. And along Main Street, I see a few buildings that I don't recognize. Not quite as old-fashioned as the buildings along the lake, but still pretty old-looking.
What the hell?
Carl almost whines out the words as I see him grip tightly into the railing. I move closer to his side, putting up an arm around his shoulders. Come on, man. We're gonna figure this out. This is just... I struggle to figure out what this just is, but I come up short. Listen, I saw this in a dream, and I think they were trying to tell me something.
What dream?
A dream I had before I woke up. I have them almost every time we pass out.
Why are you the only one having these dreams?
I jump as Jenna speaks right behind me. I turn around, finding her eyeing me suspiciously. I don't know. None of you had dreams? I did.
I wanted to be an astronaut when I grew up.
There was a huge corn dog. Is that helpful? Raven pops his head from around the glass doors, still with that bizarrely resilient grin on his face. But it was about that black shadow creature thing chasing me through the kitchen, so I guess it's not really useful.
What did you see in your dream, Chase?
Well, this... I wave my hand out at the alternate reality town. But then the mine, too, like red stuff spread out of it, over the town. Then I saw a noose. I instinctively look over at the edge of the balcony, down toward where I remembered seeing the tree.
Is the guy there?
Carl looks too.
What is it?
Well, I saw a tree with a noose on it. Carl looks slowly back up at me.
Down there?
I think so? The punctuation's interesting there. The look of utter defeat in Carl's face has me hesitating to confirm it.
Yeah, I wonder if that was like an editorial, like, should we put a question mark here? Or if that was like to give to you the idea that you were not sure if you should say it with a question.
It's
I think it's a editing thing.
People write that way to imply exactly how I read it, basically.
Where you
but you never see it in like a published work, for example.
It is like the question of a question.
It's like how somebody writes in a comment section.
Yeah, no, I use it in text where it's like perhaps, like, well,
Yeah.
usually I just do I have like I'll put a sentence, I'll do ... question mark where it's like, should I be saying this as a question? Like, that is like the implication of that. But yeah, this seems kind of
It's just interesting to see it spelled out.
Yeah. What the fuck?
I take a deep breath, trying to pull what I feel and put what I feel into words. That dream, the way it zeroed it on the tree. It felt meaningful. I think we need to go to it.
Jesus, why?
Carl buries his face in his hands as he leans against the railing, shaking his head slowly from side to side. I don't know, but I don't know where else to start. This place is massive.
So what? They put another letter there for us to find for some reason?
Maybe. Guys? Carl keeps his head in his hands as I turn around. Raven is still standing by the glass door, but he's looking back into the room. Jenna left.
Yeah, y'all keep an eye on that one.
She has a knife, maybe.
Yeah, did she bring it with her to this alternate reality house?
What? Sure enough, Jenna's nowhere to be seen. Yeah, I saw her disappear immediately. Where'd she go? Raven shrugs. Downstairs, I guess. Was she going to the tree? I start to move back into the house, then remember my destroyed ankle. I look back and see that Carl is still slumped against the railing. Carl? He doesn't look up. Carl, we need to keep moving. Finally, the ram pulls his head out of his arms and turns to help me. He gets me into our familiar position with me clinging to his neck while I hop along. I'm relieved he's actually moving, But I don't like the dull look in his eyes one bit. Is he giving in?
Oh, maybe. I was gonna say, us having that injury is kind of an interesting tactic because it forces us. It causes a sense of urgency for sure. And plus, the person writing this gets to describe a bunch of really gnarly, painful incidents that are stressful to read about. So, the crunching of the ankle over and over again. Yeah. But also forces us to bond with Carl because it makes it to where we're like, we never can exactly be alone for the most part.
We're always tied to the characters.
Yeah, so it's like we have a lot of excuses to be with Carl and talk to Carl, or to be with people and talk to people. So it's like, it's useful in terms of like, why doesn't Chase just go like, I mean, besides the obvious horror of being by yourself, why doesn't Chase just go look in that over there in that cabinet by himself? It's like, no, he can't. Other people have to be near him at all times. He's
much more tied to Carl's morale and so on.
And plus, we get to read about him piggybacking us around and us leaning on him and stuff, which is cute.
And us caving in our face or whatever.
And he feels strong, and we like to think about that.
Raven, Carl, and I head down the hall toward the stairs. Carl's right. It's like a dream of Carl's house. Carl mentions that there are a few extra doors, all of which lead into bare, hardwood floor rooms. The ground level of the house, though, looks mostly normal. As we make our way through Carl's sort of home, I realize something. You guys hear the trains when we were on the deck?
Maybe. Why?
I thought I did. Just kind of weird. Like, what are those trains doing in a world that isn't really real? Maybe it is real. Maybe. I'm not convinced. As we pass through the living room, I can see that it's set up like it always is. The kitchen looks to be in order as well.
There's a TV. I thought that this was going to be like a past.
Yeah.
That look in between the like current and the...
They're stuck in like the pre-collapse version of the town, essentially.
Yeah, and I thought maybe they're just like, I was like, oh, this room's obviously like going to be anachronistic for like what time period I think it is. But maybe they didn't have a different room model. So I was kind of just passing it. And then I saw that TV just then. They don't say anything about that.
Yeah.
Like it's a little bit too hard.
But it's not even just photos. They mentioned a ceiling fan. Like, how long have you had ceiling fans?
Well, no, ceiling fans actually have been around a decent while. I went on a tour of I've been going on mansion tours lately. Like historical mansions. Me and my aunt do that now.
Yeah.
And some of the, one of the mansions was really interesting because it was split into different sections of the house dependent on era, and so they decorated it with actual furniture and like carpentry and drapes of those like decades of the same family living in the house and how it changed over time. And like ceiling fans aren't like immensely old. They're like, but then again, I have no clue what time period they're trying to emulate here.
So I imagine it's when the stuff happened, but I'm trying to remember when that was now.
Yeah, and also I don't really remember exactly when this mansion had ceiling fans in it.
Because I'm just like thinking, like, would they have had electricity yet? Did ice cream? I mean, he makes an ice cream company, so they probably had electricity, right? Could you have an ice cream company in the desert without electricity?
Not well.
I don't think you can get things that cold, really.
Well, remember we were at the museum that we saw the ice company. Like you and I were at an early California museum, the train one, where they showed how they had like ice companies that would deliver ice cubes to your house, so you put them in your fridge, and just one compartment of the fridge was just a giant ice cube.
That's why it was called an ice box.
Yeah. But then again,
it's just a literal box that we put ice in.
Ice cream seems exceptionally necessary to be a specific temperature.
I don't know how reasonable it is.
I don't even know if an ice box would work for ice cream, you know? I don't know. A lot of questions we've got.
But they did specifically mention that the house used to have more to it, and that they lost pieces of the house over time.
Yeah, that's actually why I thought this was
the past.
A flashback, yeah.
As I step outside, I notice the mansion looks the same for the most part. Not the massive old one I had in my dream.
Oh, so it's not that bigger one.
I hop along down the curving driveway from Carl's house, like I remember in my dream. How Jenna would be able to find the tree on her own is beyond me.
Because she feels it.
Because she died there.
Yeah.
The only indication I'd given her as to where it was a glance over the railing of the deck. I mean, that's a lot. That's like that's enough information.
It depends on how many trees there are, too. If there's like one tree, you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it's so fucking close to being real, this place.
Yeah. I don't have much else to add, but he's right. It feels so close to being home, but none of it is home. I slow my pace as I turn right at the end of Carl's driveway, practically tugging the ram along. We move the short distance down the road, then move to the edge of the left side of the road. I look down, over the side, onto the rocky, sagebrush-covered slope. And there's Jenna. Somehow, she immediately found it on her own. That old and rickety wooden platform sits under the tree. This tree and platform definitely aren't in the real Echo. There were a few scant mentions of a hanging tree in my research. If it was still standing, I'd have gone to get some film for my project, so it's not the same tree. That project seems like something I was working on years ago at this point.
Maybe. How long have we been in the purgatory?
Or years in the future. I carefully start to climb down the slope, clinging to Carl. I'm about to call out to Jenna when I stop cold. As we moved to the side, the thick trunk of the tree shifted in my field of view and revealed the noose.
It's horrifying to think that, like, in a town, you'd be like, oh, that tree, that's going to be our hanging tree. That's a good tree right there for a hanging tree. Like, we have, like, a designated hanging tree because...
Because as this punishment comes up so often...
They go look around the place where they're building, like, oh, that looks like a sturdy one right there. We'll pick that one. It's the right height and everything. Like, it's terrible that people had to think of this.
Mm-hmm. Unlike my dream, the noose isn't empty. Hanging from the noose is a body. From where I'm standing, I can't see exactly what it is. Its back is to us, and all I can make out is a head, hands and feet, and some old-fashioned clothes, overalls and a cotton shirt of some kind. The clothes look worn and old, like they've been sitting in the elements for years. I stop moving, instead staring at the body. Carl freezes too, and I can feel his ragged breathing in my ear.
Jesus.
Carl gasps. I stare for what feels like an entire minute before I find my voice. Jenna? She's also facing the body, so I can't see her face, but she holds up a hand towards me to quiet me before slowly pacing around the platform. It looks like she's moving towards the front, so I steel myself and slowly follow her. I don't want to look at the body as I move, but I can't tear my eyes away. It's old. Very old. The fur is mostly gone, the skin underneath black and leathery. The face is drooping and sunken, the eyelids closed. It's been out in the sun for a very long time. I don't know much about corpses, so I don't know how long. I just know it's been a very long time. From what I can tell, it's a canine of some kind. A fox? John? For some reason, I look towards Jenna to see if she'll let us know who it is. She doesn't, instead just staring at the body. Carl tightens his grip around my shoulders. I'm not sure if it's for support against the uneven ground, or the horror in front of us. Raven has chosen not to follow. Instead, he stands back behind the platform, looking away from the body. I swallow hard, trying to keep my nerves under control, trying to look at the situation like it's a simple task. Do you guys see anything? A note or something? I try to search the platform and avoid looking up at the body.
There's something in its mouth.
Carl points at the corpse with a shaking finger. He's right. There's a flash of white in the mouth of the corpse, just barely sticking out from what looks like gnarled teeth. A piece of paper, maybe? I'm surprised at how successful I am at keeping my voice calm. I sort of feel a little numb to it all now. But I think we both realize at the same time what this means. That we're going to have to actually get that piece of paper.
Fuck, man. Why do we have to do this? Why don't they just tell us what they want, you know?
I cling to Carl as much as he's clinging to me, trying to keep him calm. Listen, I'll get it. It's just a body.
No, it's not. Nothing's just as it is in this fucked up place.
Jenna suddenly turns on the two of us, causing both of us to flinch back from her.
Chase, you need to get it. What? Why? You can't even fucking walk.
I can crawl.
He had the dream. They want him to be the one to get it. He volunteered anyway. That doesn't make sense. It makes perfect sense. Why the hell don't you get it?
Carl has adjusted himself so that he's standing halfway in front of me protectively.
Because that's what they want. That's bullshit. If you know something, Jenna, then why don't you fucking tell us?
Carl's snarling at Jenna now, which is all the more impressive because Rams can't snarl. We can't be doing this right now. Here we are in this fucked up dimension in front of a mummified corpse, arguing. I put my hand against Carl's chest. Listen, I'll get it. This is what they want. And this will help us move forward. I tried to think about actually going up to the wooden steps in front of that corpse, but I don't have any other options right now. Carl doesn't loosen his hold on me.
Fuck no. Jenna, you get it since you seem to know what the fuck is going on.
Carl squeezes me tighter against his chest as he leans in to glare at Jenna. Jenna glares right back, and I can see her lips trembling as she appears to be holding back her own snarl. Stop it. Carl, let go. I'm gonna get the paper.
No, Chase.
Carl, nothing bad has happened when it comes to getting these stupid pieces of paper. I'll be fine. That's not true.
Yeah, you're right, that's not true.
He just forgot about the stove. Carl looks down at me, his face etched with stubborn resoluteness. It's at least a nice change from the almost dead look that I had seen earlier. He stares at me hard for a good long while, to the point where I almost blush until finally...
Fine, but I'm coming up with you. I don't think... Shut up, Jenna.
Each word seems to have to work to get hard to get itself out of Carl's muzzle. It's okay. Let's go. I let Carl hold my hand as we both move towards the platform over uneven ground. I notice Raven standing off to the side, still facing away from us. I'd have to check on him later. The wood creaks softly under our feet as we make our way up the steps. I focus on my hopping foot, not wanting to look at the body. Once we reach the top, though, I realize that I'm going to have to. Leaning heavily against Carl for support, I look up. The corpse's eyes are open now. Two yellow, piercing eyes that are sunk deep in the skull stare back at me. I'm like, are we about to see it?
You are disgusting.
I'm disgusting. You're abhorrent, despicable, horrible.
Oh wait, I'm not the dead. Okay.
Some other people are talking, apparently.
Yeah, I was saying it like I was the corpse. So
yeah.
For telling truths.
For telling your own truth. You don't know my story, my truth.
Your truth is a delusion.
You cruel, filthy son of a bitch. What do you want from me?
I want justice.
You and your people don't know the meaning of the word. Just let it rest. Let me rest.
And you'd leave me restless? Murderer.
You may not have killed me physically, but you murdered my life, you fucking...
The otter hears us.
So? If he hears us, then it wants him to.
Why does it?
You think I know? Why does it create these places? Let us do small things, then take it away. It's a game. My life, my reputation is a game to it.
Huh. A game.
Go on. Why don't you tell him your truth?
The otter works with you. I wouldn't help him even if I could.
But you can't, can you? You are but smoke. Good thing, too. You and your fucking lies.
I will tell him this. Otter, you are stuck here because you cannot see the truth, and until you do...
How will he know the truth if you only lie?
You are disgusting.
So I guess I'm James.
I'm Begay.
Begay. I'm 9 or 10, and I'm sitting under a tree in the forest. I like the feeling you get when you finish crying.
Oh.
Quickly contextualizes what's happening. The stuffed up nose and throbbing in my head, along with the feeling of having just run 10 miles. Like I've just finished something really hard, and now it's over.
I understand this very much.
And then, a creak in the branches above me. I look up and see the fox, hanging from a rope. His dead eyes are on me.
Why don't you get your ass up here and dig it out yourself, then? He's awake. Chase?
A big hand is cradled below my head, and I stare at the horns waving around above my eyes. Between them hangs the fox.
Hey, you okay? What happened?
I don't know. There were eyes? I stare harder at the fox, but the eyes are closed.
Yeah, me too, but you sort of just fell back. Sorry I dropped you, and I think you hit your head.
That would explain the headache. My head throbs with each heartbeat.
Why didn't you grab the letter, Chase? Are you kidding me?
I flinch at Carl's loud voice, and the spit that flecks my face.
You just passed out, and that thing has something to do with it. Like I said, dig it out of the fucking mouth if you want to.
Dig what out? I crane my head, painfully look at Jenna. She stands in the exact same spot, staring stoically. Raven has moved to stand next to her, but now his eyes are wide, staring at the fox. I turn my head back around towards the hanging fox, and that's when I see the letter is gone. Where did it go? I push myself up, cringing as I once again forget about my ankle. Did it swallow it? Carl hurriedly fusses around me, helping me stand. I keep my eyes on the fox the entire time, but I don't see any signs of life. What happened?
You fell.
No, the fox. What happened to the letter?
He ate it.
What? How?
It just sort of gobbled it up.
Carl's free hand gestures at his mouth. God. I lean my forehead against the ram's cheek as I close my eyes. So, are we not supposed to read it? Raven's voice is small and quiet, nothing like his usual self, even during the time we've spent here. No one says anything for a while. I clear my throat. I think I heard John and James while I was out.
What? What did they say?
I think John and James, they're influencing some of this, but there's something else controlling all of it? How? I don't know, but it's stopping them from telling us what they want to say. Like, this is a game for it. I feel Carl shake his head against my head.
Probably hurts like clunk, clunk,
Clunk,
clunk,
clunk.
clunk. So what are we supposed to do?
Just figure out the game, I guess. They said something about having to see the truth, but I'm not exactly sure what that is.
But the fox just ate our clue.
That might have been one of them. James or John? I don't know.
Do we just find another one then?
I don't say anything because that's when I see the hint of white sticking out from the fox's pocket.
It's like a magic trick.
So fucking stupid.
I ate it right up.
Oh, wow, what's this behind your ear?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a death note. Woohoo. I point.
It's a Mickey Mouse at the end.
What's... This is dark. I was going to suggest they have to cut it open, but maybe not.
I was thinking like a saw trap where they're like, oh, we put a key, but it's behind this guy's eyeball.
Behind your boyfriend's eye.
Is he dead, or did you just kill him? I think in the movie that they weren't actually dead, and they ended up killing him. That's like the
That's
trick.
the one who. Yeah, it's the guy who turns out to not actually be dead yet. And also she's the one that becomes like the apprentice for like the next a few movies later.
Oh, Amanda.
They bring them back. What's that?
What?
That sticking out of the chest pocket.
Huh?
Carl moves a little closer, pulling me along tentatively. Raven calls anxiously from behind us. What are you guys doing?
Are we almost done?
Can we go for walkies?
Yeah.
Carl's voice gets tighter, more nervous, as he reaches out with a shaky hand. I keep my eyes focused on the pocket, not wanting to look into those eyes if they open again. Carl touches the chest, yanking back his hand once before slowly going in again. His face turns towards mine, cringing as he tries to look and not look at the same time. He fumbles at the pocket for a moment, the fox swaying just slightly from the ram's poking fingers. Finally, after what seems like several eternities, Carl manages to get a grip on the note. Once he does, he yanks his hand back, almost hitting the fox's muzzle as he slides the letter free from the pocket.
I don't think this would bother me that as much as it's bothering all these people.
I don't think it would bother you as much either.
It's like, oh, I mean, in this context,
you're like,
everything's
corpses
haunted and stuff, and it's like it could jolt at you, but it's like it's just a dead person.
I mean, people are really uncomfortable around that stuff in many cases. I don't have any experience to draw on, but you do collect body parts.
Yeah.
So our data is mixed here.
I was gifted a human arm once.
You were gifted a cat.
I was gifted yes.
An entire cat.
By your mom. Isn't that cute? That's cute. I cherish it. She found a mummified cat in the woods and was like,
no, it was in her front yard.
Oh, Stephanie will like
the bushes.
this.
Some cat just died in the bushes of her yard, and she kept it for you.
That is the sweetest thing anyone's ever done.
It's so horrifying.
Bless her heart. Okay, let's go.
Carl gently but quickly guides me back down the stairs. Jenna eyes what's in Carl's hand suspiciously, the only expression she knows how to make anymore.
Oh, sorry. What's that? Another letter or something. Where did you get that? The fox ate it earlier.
I saw it sticking out of the pocket. I guess there was another one. Jenna goes quiet and her expression darkens. I'm about to ask her what's wrong, but Carl's already unfolding the paper, swinging the hand holding it to try to make it unfold.
Oh, he's one of those people. Like
He's trying to whip it. Well, he is holding someone
That's
with his
true.
other arm.
Yeah.
So he's got limited use. I just can't help but think that the person I feel like John swallowed the evidence and then planted new contrary
that is
evidence.
what it seems like. It's very convenient that you would swallow it and then be like, ooh.
Wow, they'll just be like, ooh, wow.
Oh, look, it's sprouted out of my pocket.
Look at this rope of hankies coming out of my mouth.
They'll have terrible notes on them about the person I hate.
It's my libel rope. I I help him out with my own free hand and hold the letter between us. I notice that the bottom of the paper has a rough tear, like somebody's torn it in
Exactly,
half.
like somebody ate the other half and like left the half they want you to see.
Yeah, the other half is the part that he swallowed. Jenna and Raven move in closer, opposite us.
Please let this be the one that gets us back.
It doesn't look like a letter. In fact, it looks like a newspaper clipping. Well, a photocopied one anyway. Carl, I think this came from your mom's collection of artifacts. I remember some pages were ripped out of the scrapbooks.
Really?
Yeah. I thought it was you taking them.
Nope.
I wonder how long ago this nightmare actually started.
It was a long ass time ago.
Yeah, that was very early. We're like, why is Carl fucking with the evidence that he brought us to? And it probably was him, maybe.
Possessed him.
Like if that's the case, then that means it was James getting rid of the evidence, because I don't think that John can take over Carl.
Yeah, that's the impression I get too.
And we don't have evidence that that Jenna was nearby. It seems that it had been setting itself up for days before we fell into this place. Well, I guess I'll give it a read. Hopefully this is the one. What's funny to me is that even with the whole unfolding mystery, I don't think any of them are actually invested in the reveal.
Oh, no. They just want to leave.
None of them actually care about what either of them have to say. They're just like, can we please leave?
Ew, history is old and gross. It's dusty and ugly, and I hate it.
It's just that their own futures are a much more pressing thing at stake than like, oh no, who was right or wrong in the story we didn't even know about in the first place.
We don't fucking care, guys. Kiss and make up.
I start with the big, bold title. Echo researcher uncovers town's serial killer past. Oh.
Yeah, the missing kids. I'm telling you, there's the mine and there's missing kids. And there's there's James, who owns a lot of stuff, like maybe a mine. And then there's John, who has been telling people that he thinks James is related to the missing boys from his tribe.
Yeah.
And I think he probably was.
And also, every time we get evidence about the past, I perk up a little bit because I'm like, ooh, this could all become relevant later if we get to the smoke room. Because that's the prequel game that takes place in the mining town. And so I think it probably involves the characters we're getting hints about.
Like the missing children's?
So when you tell me, like, oh, there's a serial killer in the past, I'm like, oh, sounds like that comes up. That's the one that has all the big Barra men. It's a different art style. They're all very large.
They're all very thick. Like
they were just built different back then when you had mining towns instead of video game pot men, which is the strongest among us.
We saw those pictures at that museum with just straight up rectangular thick boys who worked on the railroads.
Yeah. Granted, I don't usually expect gamers to be built like linebackers, but here we are.
I know his arms are so nice. I've been looking, like every scene he's in, I'm just looking at his arms the whole time.
The subtle shading. Now that he's wearing a tank top.
They made a good choice.
We've slowly undressed Carl over the course of this week.
Like he'll never take off his beanie.
No,
never.
He sleeps in it. I don't know if it can come off.
I don't know, man.
I still can't accept that it's a beanie. It's definitely a rag.
Like a do-rag, basically.
Yeah.
Because like I said,
the material even looks like one. Like I don't understand how it's supposed to be a beanie.
I can picture if I walked up to Carl and I touched it, I know exactly what it would feel like, and it does not feel like a beanie.
Yeah,
it feels like one of those soft, stretchy cloths, like like a neck gaiter. I keep telling you, like a neck gaiter.
Yeah, like I feel like Howley kept writing that in the script, but then Stardust Pup had to actually go and draw it, and they're like, I can't make that. What are you? I can't make this work. What are you talking about?
It would be hard to figure out how to draw a beanie. I can see some problems with drawing the beanie on the guy with the horns and how that might cause logistical problems.
Yeah. There's gestures here and there where I just question, like, how much he was thinking about Carl's like horn shape and so on. I also wonder if maybe they were redrawn a few times or so on, and maybe the interpretation was different at one point. Because I'm at this angle, I can kind of get that, like, the horns do seem to be mostly behind his head, but they're still, like, it'd be pretty uncomfortable for him to do the whole, like, cheek-on-cheek thing with Chase while they're spooning, and, like, there's, like, a horn jabbing Chase in the back of the head.
But I really don't know.
So I'm pretty sure that's where that lands, and I'm like,
If they tell someone, like, hey, draw, like, an anthropomorphic ram, I don't know how you could draw the horns in a way where he definitely has horns, or it wouldn't get in the way of spooning. I don't.
Yeah, no, it's being any kind of character with horns is like an obstacle for several things.
So, like, yeah,
so just a wildly inconvenient thing to have on your person.
They could make them too small, or also be like an insult to his masculinity, because that's come up a few times as far as it's like, oh, his horns got really big over the summer. Oh no. So you couldn't have little tiny horns, or else it wouldn't be as cute.
Most might know Trisha Hendricks as the CEO of Hen's Ice Cream, but Echo locals will know her to be an avid history buff as well. Is that her? Is that his mom?
Yeah, I think so.
I just love how it all connects to all of us. How it shows that everything has happened for a reason.
Da-da-da.
But even she didn't realize that what her research would uncover. According to Hendricks, the town's founder, James, had an affair with another man, and both have been hiding, and both may have been hiding a dark secret. They were murdering people together.
I forget
for funsies.
Which U.S. president it was, but one of the really early ones, we literally have letters between him and his gay lover. Like, no one talks about that. It's very funny that no one.
They were just really good friends.
He had a tunnel,
like Achilles and Patroclus,
to his house. There's a secret tunnel that went from his house to his best friend's house. Wink.
He navigated a tunnel so they could navigate a tunnel.
He uses the word love here, but it's obviously like a fraternal love. Like, we never had a gay president. We definitely had a gay president, guys. Like, probably more than one.
Oh, fuck. Who wrote that comic? Was it Happy Roadkill? I think it was Happy Roadkill to the comic where there was like Achilles and Patroclus. I just want to call him Patroclus because I hate the flow if you don't pronounce it Patroclus, even though it's not Patroclus. But there was like... It's like, oh yes, Achilles, how are you doing? I'm here to suck your cock. And then it's like, wow, this is revolutionary new information from this relic. And he just goes to his notes and updates it. They were really good friends.
Very, very good
like,
friends.
just refusing to acknowledge the most obvious text. Our ancestors are put back in the closet in death.
That really, I mean, and like I said, I think
that's a James Somerton quote.
I think if you're looking for a culture that, like, I feel like you gotta put a lot of people in the closet if you're referring to, like, Greek and Roman culture. Like, I think they were pretty outward. It takes a lot of effort to put that many people in the closet. You gotta shove them all back there.
Mm-hmm.
Socrates, get back in there. Plato, get back in there. Like, all of them. They were all in there. I
think about Norse mythology and how most of it didn't survive, and a lot of it, and our only source is a Christian monk. Like, that's the only surviving history we have of Norse mythology is a Christian monk's version of it, and it's like,
so it's censored to hell then.
Yeah, like even people who wanted to preserve stuff willingly, which maybe that guy did, would often have to intentionally change and censor elements of it so that it wouldn't be destroyed by the church, essentially. So I'm just like, with how fucking freaky Loki gets in the version we know, I'm like, what else was in there? Because, like, Loki gets up to some bullshit.
I want more lesbians in mythology, but I think a lot of it is written by dudes, either straight dudes or gay dudes. So it's like, that's the one demographic that didn't write anything are the ladies. So it's like, we just gotta get a lot of really mean bitches, which is pretty cool, but...
So what is their dark secret? You'll never know what you'll find out. But to think that James had a homosexual relationship and with an alleged serial killer, well, it's really something.
I think the second part's more interesting than the first part.
Oh. So I think that that this further contextualizes the murder, like his death, if they think John was a serial killer.
I think James was definitely the serial killer.
Yeah, I think James was a serial killer, and John took the fall for it. and did not want to because John called James the killer in the argument.
He was the murderer, yeah.
According to Hendrix's research, James may have been in a romantic relationship with a native fox by the name of John Begay. Town records indicate that Begay was accused of committing multiple child murders. Hendrix says the crimes were sexual in nature. No.
That's kind of what I already was assuming, because he kept saying boys, a bunch of boys. And I'm like, if you're going... It's like, if you're just out killing children, you probably would just get a grab bag mix of both boys and girls. But specifically a bunch of little native boys. And it's like, the people that the town won't miss because they're natives, oh no, you know, that kind of dark logic that
Didn't need this. I reached the bottom of the page where the rough tear begins. Clearly there's more to the article, but... Jenna! What?
Uh-oh.
I look up just in time to see a flash of steel before Carl jumps back, pulling me along with him. The knife comes within inches of Carl's face before piercing into the newspaper clipping we were holding with a smack.
What the hell?
Jenna! I'm about to ask what she's doing because I think she's attacking the newspaper for some reason, but her intentions become clear as she moves towards us with a knife, eyes set on Carl. Jenna, stop! Raven bounces up and down, his hands pulling at his ears. Carl moves back as fast as he can while I limp along.
Jenna, what are you doing?
Jenna lunges at us, the knife arcing down from above again. This time she's too close, and Carl pushes me to the side as he jumps back. I go down on my butt on the rocky ground.
Putrid, lying beast. Where's my letter? I don't know. What did I do?
Carl's stuttering, stumbling eyes. Carl is stuttering. Blah, blah. Carl is stuttering, stumbling, eyes wide with terror. It was confusing because I thought it was a possessive apostrophe S.
Yeah, I get it.
I don't even know if he's going to defend himself when Jenna gets to him. With a muffled scream, I push myself onto my feet and hobble after them, each step sending electric lances of pain to the back of my brain. I don't have time to dwell on it, though, because that's when Jenna reaches Carl. She grabs one of his horns and yanks him close, Carl swinging his fists wildly in her direction. It's a valiant effort, but Carl's not a fighter, and aside from letting out a few grunts, Jenna isn't affected. She raises the knife just as I reach them.
No, stop! I don't like that. I don't know what that implies. Oh fuck.
I save it every choice. It's a useful tool for later. I think there's a very significant chance we can die here. So that's fun. Would you like to intentionally get a bad ending and see how that goes?
I mean, I think grabbing Jenna is the one where we
I'm
get
extremely
stabbed.
convinced we die if we grab Jenna.
If we push Jenna, does Carl die?
I don't know. Maybe it works. Want to find out what happens if we grab Jenna? Which seems like
a bad idea. Which is why it's so counterintuitive that it might be crazy. It might be the correct one. Who knows?
I need to pull her away from Carl. I reach out, grabbing the fox by the back of her shirt and yanking as hard as I can. Jenna falls back and unexpectedly turns into me as she does. The music cutting out.
Uh-oh.
I think I know what happened. A deep, penetrating bolt of pain goes into my chest.
Yes.
I gasp like I've just jumped into a pool of ice-cold water. I can't help it. It's like a reflex. And with the gasp comes a violent change of light and scenery, and suddenly I'm in darkness. Not complete darkness, though, because the moon shines down on us. The pain in my chest gives a few deep throbs before Jenna yanks the knife out of my chest.
Chase!
Carl screams my name as I go to my knees, both hands pressed to my chest.
Chase! Chase!
I hear Carl stumbling around as Jenna turns back around toward the ram. I look up to Carl, trying to ask for help, tasting blood in my mouth. But Carl isn't looking at me. He's stumbling around, looking everywhere except for where I am, while at the same time trying to dodge Jenna.
Where is he?
Whoa. That's weird.
Do we, like, phase out of the universe?
Did we instantly saw things differently. So, like, did dying send us to where John and James are?
Or did it send us back to, like, reality?
Or something.
Or we're just out in the desert now, and all of our friends are still stuck in purgatory?
We can still see them.
Oh, yeah.
I raise a hand, trying to show him. Maybe it's too dark? At that moment, Raven, almost invisible in the darkness, tackles Jenna to the ground. He did something. Stop it! Stop this! This is crazy! Please, just stop! He pins her easily.
Chase!
I force myself to stand, panicking now. The throbbing in my chest is different. Odd. Something deep inside me has been hit. Help me. I stumble towards Carl, but he moves further away from me.
Chase!
He's crying now, but he can't see me. I look behind me, seeing the few lights of Echo, all the normal buildings under the moonlight. I'm back, but I'm dying, and Carl can't see me. I need to get help. Wait, so he did escape, right?
Yeah.
That's what that said? All the normal buildings? Yeah, so he's in normal Echo now.
Yeah.
But he's completely alone and dying, so the wound still happened.
Yeah.
That's fucked. I need to get help. I stumble towards the hill, shakily trying to climb up the incline of rocks and dirt. My shirt is soaked, and it clings to my body like a second skin. Each pulse of my heart sends a wave of warmth over my chest and
Oh,
stomach.
dude, you're fucked. Like,
If I can just get to Carl's house, I can call someone. I get to the top of the slope, onto the actual road. There's a pop in the distance. A gunshot?
did you stab him? Raven, there's blood on the knife. Oh my god.
Carl's screams make me want to turn back around, but if I can only get to the house, get a phone, call for help for me and my friends. But everything's getting hazy. My legs are like lead. I can't even feel my ankle anymore. My ears seem to clog up, and my breathing slows down. All I can hear is my heartbeat in my ears, and my breathing, and both are getting weaker. Darkness creeps in on the edge of my vision. Something lays on the road in front of me, and my legs give out as I pass it. Slumped on my knees, I look at it, and I see a weasel.
The
Dude.
weasel! It came back!
It came up again.
It came up again.
What the fuck? I can't tell because most of his face is missing. There's a little plastic thing stuck in the bloody mess. What the fuck?
What?
The fuck happened to him? I don't really care though. Everything feels peaceful for once. Quiet and peaceful. I stare down at my chest, watching as blood pumps out with each heartbeat, staining all the way down to my knees now. The tunnel gets tighter. I sway. I fall. Into nothing. The fuck? Duke?
Was Duke just also dead? Was he just in dead land with us?
Did he die exactly where we last saw him somehow?
What was the plastic thing in his face?
Yeah, like half his face is missing and there's plastic there?
I mean, it would make sense if it got eaten, but I mean, well, I guess it wouldn't because these are all
What does that mean?
I don't think coyotes exist in a non-anthropomorphic way, so I don't know what would eat his face.
Huh. Not gonna lie, kind of thought it would just be a whoops you got stabbed ending and not like maybe several revelations at once or something. There was a lot of questions in that death. That was really weird.
Yeah, we like teleported to a different dimension. Or the real world, I guess. And fucking Duke was there, and I guess was just also dead. Did us ignoring him that one time cause him to die in the desert alone?
I don't know. Is Duke gonna show up in other?
What's the plastic thing in his face?
We didn't have choices back then, really. So does Duke show up in other people's stories?
I guess so. I really thought he was just an omen.
Maybe we can find his body again later, but I don't think we're gonna meet him in this route. Huh. So don't grab Jenna.
Well, we already knew that was bad.
Also, that thing's got so intense that even Raven did something.
Oh, baby Raven did something.
Tackled someone. That's very hard to get him to do, apparently.
So when we go back into the other playthrough, he's not going to do it.
Well, enjoy that cliffhanger, everybody. Is it a cliffhanger if you died and it's an ending? Probably not.
Well, it's a
yes.
cliffhanger from before we
Just
died.
new questions.
What will happen when we push Jenna? See next time on the exciting episode of Keith's channel.
That's what it's called.